just did a video on the tracks that I recommend buying, or the tracks that you need to own. I gave you 6, remember, because if you buy 6 pieces of content from Iracing at a time, you'll actually get 15% off. If you buy 3, you get 10% off. So the best value way to do it is buy 6. Hopefully that is worth a like for giving you that tip if you didn't know. But in this video, we are going to cover the cars I think you need to own. Probably what people care about more is the vehicles that you need to own, because there's so many to choose from in the game. And they are specifically what stops you from entering certain series or allows you to do other ones. So if you're new to iRacing, or if you have already a catalogue of cars and you're just wondering what to buy next, well then hopefully this will help you out. So we'll move over here, jump on the computer, and we'll go through what I recommend to get. So we'll cover not only road, probably the most focused series of iRacing, and they have a lot of different series going on at the one time and a lot of different options with cars, but we'll also cover the dirt circuit stuff, so the dirt speedway things, and as well as NASCAR, even though I don't do it a lot and I'm not the most knowledgeable with it, but still have a recommendation of what you can get if you're interested in that as well. So start off, I've got a thing up on the board here, and we'll jump into pretty much Speedway is the easiest one to cover first of all, and I've taken some notes here. So the series that is done the most is the Dirt 360 Sprint Cars. Now you need to be C class to open those, but with Speedway, if you haven't done it already, if you buy a Sprint car, you get the 305, which you can do D class with, you get the 360, and you get the 410. So definitely need to get the Speedway pack, and then it's your choice if you wanted to do further between the wingless, or what I got was the, what are they called? Late model. This will give you the late model cars that are really unique to drive compared to, such as wingless just has a bit less downforce. They're a bit crazier. They love the chili bowl tracks and stuff like that. Really unique, an indoor dirt speedway track, which I don't own, but I do envy it a lot. So maybe I'll get around to buying it. But my choice is late model, really different to drive. You got to like snap them in and then hold it sideways. And they're really, really crazy to see in person if you haven't thought about that. So that's pretty much all I can offer and recommend when it comes to the dirt speedway. With the NASCAR, you've got, that's beauty and riding right there. NASCAR, couple options. Definitely you're going to want, I think, straight to the Gander truck. That's what I did. That's C class. You can race your stock car from rookie, keep doing rookie, get 4.0 into D, where you can do stock car in there, and pretty much, even though you can't do any of the actual D class content, I believe, because you need to buy like a certain late model cars and stuff for NASCAR, complete a bit of a money con, I'll be honest, that you can't actually do any current content without buying something. But if you go 4.0 safety rating, again, you can bypass straight into C class. Then you can buy a Gander truck, and they come up not only in C class, but also the Road to Pro A class and everything. So you use them a lot, as well as the NASCAR itself, or Xfinity. I think Xfinity you can use in B class, as well as one of the A class categories. So it'll be either Xfinity or NASCAR as well. And whichever one, Toyota, Supra, Ford, whatever you want to buy, it's completely up to you. They're all the same. And there's that. Now let's get into the juicy road. Okay, so this one's the most intense and probably the one that you've clicked on in regards to this video anyway. So a couple different options here. Let me look at my notes. So you definitely in my experience want an IMSA car. They are the most volumized series in the game. There'll be nights where you log on, or days if you're in America, and there's 200 people signed up for a specific race. So that's crazy. And the good thing here is you have two options, okay? Because there's a couple different cars on the track at a time. You got GTE or GT3. I'd recommend normally starting with GT3 because you don't need the extra bit of downforce and speed from a GTE car. You don't want to jump into a faster car until you've got your foundations of driving and the circuit and everything under control first, because what happens is it's just harder to learn the crucial things, right? If you jump straight into a Zonda and try and rip it around a racetrack, you can have a much harder time because there's less room for error than if you're in a Mazda MX-5, for instance. Okay, I know everyone wants to jump for the faster car, The problem with that recommendation, I actually can't do it in this regard, is because the GTE series in D class is the BMW series. Oh, that's meant to be a line. The BMW M8 Gte. So if you're actually new to iRacing and the way that they've got it currently organized, you should actually buy, first of all, the BMW M8 Gte. Fantastic car. I actually own the, I don't own this one because I bought the Ferrari because it used to be the D class until they removed it. And I made a critical error here where the Ferrari was a GT3, and then I brought an Audi because I wasn't aware that the IMSA GT3 class had the Audi and the Ferrari and stuff in it. So I made this error. I don't want you to do the same thing. So you want to buy a car that you can use spread out throughout this series, and they work really well together. So I'd recommend currently the BMW M8 Gte. Now, if you do already own a GTE car, don't purchase another one for IMSA unless you really want it. In that case, you would buy a GT3. Now, the option here is completely up to you. A lot of people drive the Merc. It's probably the easiest one. The fastest one, but a bit more crazier to handle. The Snap-O's here, it's a bit more on the risky side to race this one, but it's the Audi, seems to be doing really well. The reason you want that is because when you go to B class, you can race the Sprint series, which is only GT3. So you can see if you did the D class M8 Gte, then you can also race that in the IMSA class. Or if you don't want to do any D class category and you're already above that, you probably be doing IMSA and stuff anyway. But then you can own a GT3 car and do IMSA and the Sprint. So they both do one or the other, but they cross in the center, if that makes sense. So really crucial category, I think, to be involved with. But it's all tin top racing. Not everyone wants to do tin top racing, so that leads me to the next step. In order to spice it up a little bit, my notes are everywhere, I'll be honest. But you also want an open wheeler. Now, the D-Class Skip Barber series, I've been very envious of. I don't own a Skip Barber car, but people really give it credit as it's the most fun racing. They're not super fast, but they teach you a lot of skills with controlling a car, a lot of like oversteer. They just look like a whole heap of fun. And the racing is always neck and neck because it's such a popularized category, really enjoyable cars to drive, but they're not super fast. So everyone's looking for like the slightest tenth of a second pace and makes the racing awesome. The other option is so we've got Skip. The other option is the Formula F3 cars if you want to go to a little bit quicker car and actually a Formula style. And it would be a super good option. I did buy this one myself 6 months or a year ago. The problem is the newest cars coming to iRacing next month in June will be replacing the F3 in the D class category, leaving the Formula 3 car only for C class and open setup, I believe. The F2000 or something will replace the D class one, meaning, I don't know, I think Skip Barber is going to be even more volumized, or it's just the one that I would recommend over the Formula 3, just because the Formula F3 used to have so much more value to the purchase, now it doesn't. So we have the Skip Barber, we have our IMSA car. I would recommend the BMW M8. For GT3, Merc or Audi, your choice. You can buy any of them really. And then that leads us to the third and final option for road that I think you should grab, and that will be between. You get 3 options here. We need more space for it. My first option here, and there's going to be a Porsche Gt3, or let me not call it Gt3, it's a cup car. Okay, because you can't race it with the other ones. It's only its own series, and this one's actually a worldwide known race car. I know they've got them in Europe, they've got them here in Australia, they've got them everywhere, the Porsche Cup Cars, from what I gather. Really, really unique cars to drive. They feel light and agile. The engine's in the rear, a lot of oversteer, a lot of like, the stuff that makes race cars fun, the Porsche Cup car has. Upping the ante even more, you have the V8 Supercar. Big in Australia here. Just boats to drive. They got all the power in the world, but no assists at all. So they're almost like the big brother to the Porsche Cup car. I feel like front engine, rear drive V8 with too much horsepower for their own liking. There's that one, and they always go to Bathurst and stuff, but so does the Porsche Cup car. So I would recommend the Porsche Cup Car, even though I'm Australian. I love the V8 Supercars as a real series. I own both of these, and you can always own both of these. Remember, if you're not worried about buying tracks in this next purchase, you can buy the 6 cars that you want and save 15% off your whole total order. So we've got Porsche Cup Car, V8 Supercar, and also then we have the Le Mans car. So you could, if you're high enough to do B-class content, drive the Audi R18, is it? Something like that. It's the diesel LMP car, LMP1. And then we have the Porsche, so many Porsches in this game. 919, probably my favorite pick there. Just hearing that whine and the electric hybrid push of technology type of racing. Although expensive or hard to get into and not completely volumized, because these guys race along with the GTE cars. So if you bought that BMW GTE, which I really recommend if you don't already have it, you can do D-class race when you get good high enough safety rating and stuff. You can go into C-class and do the IMSA category. Then you can also do the Le Mans category with these LMP cars. So there you go. There is your, 3 options. BMW M8 Gte. We've got our open wheeler Skip Barber, and then you also got Porsche Cup Car. Or you have a couple different options there. Buy Gt3 if you don't have one already, so you can do the B-class Sprint. Always buy the Formula 3, or wait for the new Formula 2000 if you want to do a D-class race. And then you have your V8 Supercar, Le Mans, whatever you want. Hopefully that gives you a bit of insight into what you should spend your hard-earned money on next. And if it did, remember you can always subscribe to support me and these videos, because you'll see more coming out in the future and they'll be delivered straight to your YouTube homepage. And if I helped you at all, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. I hate asking for this stuff, but the algorithm is really clutch on YouTube. If it's not in your favor, if you're not getting the thumbs up and stuff, your videos will never get shown to people. So thanks for watching, guys. I will see you next time.